Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I'm your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. How do I do that? I review the wines, I grade them, and that's up to you. I review, it's up to you. The much maligned Sauvignon Blanc. Just a couple years ago, Moscato actually overtook Sauvignon Blanc in wine sales in the United States, which I find particularly hard to believe. Sauvignon Blanc is an excellent white wine. Some of the best in the world come out of Sancerre in the Loire Valley of France. And for those of you who have tried those, you understand what I'm talking about. Very haunting acidity, minerality, great with shellfish, all of those things. Now what amazes me too is that Pinot Grigio outsells Sauvignon Blanc. Now for those of you who watch this program, it's, you understand where I'm coming from on that one. I really do not understand the whole Pinot Grigio Gris phenomena, except for the fact that I think people drink it because, you don't have to guess about what you're getting. There's no surprises. It's like going to McDonald's. You know what you're getting. And a lot of people like that, granted. But thankfully, the millennials are not like that. They are more interested in diversity. That is why McDonald's is suffering from a downturn in sales big time. So we're happy about that, and maybe we can get you millennials to like and bring Sauvignon Blanc back to where it belongs. Now, the one area that has catapulted Sauvignon Blanc a little further ahead than it would be without it is New Zealand. A lot of people love New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. I like many of them. I find a lot of them to be just big grapefruit bombs. And that's okay if you like grapefruit juice, which I do, but not necessarily in my wine glass. But there are many New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs that I like. But we're going to skip New Zealand this time because I want you to discover some Sauvignon Blancs, perhaps some areas you don't normally look for it from. The first one is Touraine. Now Touraine is on the east end of the Loire Valley. Loire Valley is a huge appellation. If you ever get a chance to take a look at the map of Loire Valley, it's amazing how big that area is. And Touraine is on the far east side and abuts Sancerre, Sancerre being even further east and a little bit south of there. And well, Touraine's a fairly big appellation in itself. A lot of people call Touraine the poor man's Sancerre because this one rolls in at $8, which is an incredible price for a Sauvignon Blanc from the Loire Valley. And this, I guess I should read the label. I'm getting ahead of myself here. 2013, Wally and TC, Touraine Sauvignon Le Gourmet, and this rolls in, like I said, at $8. Personally, I love Sauvignon Blanc. I think it's a great wine all by itself, and certainly it is great with shellfish, oysters, clams, and the like. Great stuff, and I love the Sauvignon Blancs from Touraine. They tend to pack all those things you're looking for from a Sancerre, maybe a little not quite as amped up acidic-wise and flavor-wise, but they come pretty dang close. Let's see what we get on the nose. This has a real grassy element. Now I know there's a lot of customers that I've ran into that say, well, I really don't like the grassiness of a Sauvignon Blanc, but this one has it, so if you don't like that, you're probably not going to like this on the nose. I can get a little bit of dusty rocks, grass, and a lot of citrus. I get a little lemon and lime coming through on the nose. Get some white flowers. There's an interesting, just a backdrop, just a very, very slight backdrop of honey. Let's see what we get on the palate. You gotta love this Sauvignon Blanc. It's almost like licking on a steel plate. You know, just that real clean, crisp, steely edge to it. Just a hint of wet stone and just a load of lemon lime. I mean, there's lemon lime zest all over the palate. It's not over the top. It's very balanced, very clean, very crisp, very delicious. It's $8 for crying out loud. To get this much for $8 is incredible to me. Just a touch of herbs and grass right at the back end. But this is so clean and crisp and delicious. Amazing wine, amazing Sauvignon Blanc for $8. I'm going to go B plus on that wine. I just think it has great balance, great freshness. It's well built. There's nothing funky about it. It's just all there. It's all in the right place. It's well built. And it has some personality. What more can you ask for $8? Let's move on to the next one. So just remember that. Look for Touraine. Touraine is an area in the Loire Valley where they produce a lot of Sauvignon Blanc. It's not the only thing they make, but it's certainly a big part of what they make, Sauvignon Blanc. Now let's move on to the 2014, fresh off the cargo truck. Fresh off the ship, excuse me. Los Vascos Sauvignon Blanc 2014. This rolls in at $8. Casablanca, Chile. And for those of you who have not explored Chile for Sauvignon Blanc, you're missing out. They do some excellent stuff. For some reason, the angle of my camera is way off here. There you go. Los Vascos, $8. Let's see what we get. Let's do a little rinse here. Chile just does an excellent job, and a lot of Chilean Sauvignon Blancs will have a little bit of green bell pepper to them. Not all of them, but some of them. And some of them do have that grapefruit profile that is big in New Zealand. But New Zealand, I swear, you could probably pour a glass of New Zealand, some, not all, some New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, pour a glass, put it in a lineup, put a little food, maybe melt, creamy, whatever, food color that makes it look like grapefruit juice, whatever you would use for that. And you could put it in a lineup of grapefruit juice. I'm not so sure you could tell the difference. That's how much grapefruit is on some New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs. It's incredible. Let's see what we get on the nose from the Los Vascos. Yep, a little bit of green bell pepper in this one. And this is something, now, don't get me wrong, but this smells a little bit like sweaty armpits, which is not a bad thing. Not stinky sweaty armpits, but just, you know, somebody who doesn't have, it's not body odor, it's just that smell of sweaty armpits. A little bit of grapefruit, more of the pith than the actual fruit. A little bit of like a walnut characteristic coming through, which is kind of curious. Next I'm getting a little walnut, grapefruit pith, grass, and sweaty armpits. That's what I'm getting on the nose. Let's see what we get on the palate. These are amazing. This is $10. I get that lime characteristic big time lime. A little bit of white pepper notes coming through, which is curious. Very clean, very crisp, just like the Touraine. And definitely, oops, a little splash there. Definitely grapefruit pith coming through on this one with the lime. Very dry on the finish, very clean, very delicious. You know, it's making my mouth water. It's just had all those elements that are very mouth-watering, and I could drink this all by itself. It's a good acidity, very nice acidity, very bright and crisp, but at the same time, enough fruit that you would could enjoy this by itself. But this is definitely, you know, oyster wine, clams, mussels, any of those things would work really good with this wine. Absolutely. Crazy. And you get a little herbal component on the back end with the lime and the grapefruit pith and all of that stuff. I mean, just think about, so interesting. Very, very interesting on the palate. I'm going to go BB plus on that one also. Could hedge towards A minus on the Los Vascos. Incredible wine. Very delicious, very bright, very mouth-watering, very crisp, very clean. All of those wonderful things. If you haven't tried a Chilean Sauvignon Blanc, you may want to go to Los Vascos. Excellent job. Now, we're moving on to Washington State. Vapiano Sauvignon Blanc, Columbia Valley, 2013. And now we're jumping up into a different price point, $20. Come on, man. Okay, there you go. $20. Vapiano. Now Vapiano has one of the better Sauvignon Blancs that I've had from Washington State called Bruno's Blend. It rolls in at about $15, or maybe it's 18. Could be 18. Anyway, I was told, and this is the first time I've ever tried this particular one, this has a little bit of oak treatment on it. Now before I taste this, I have to tell you I had a really bad experience. Some people thought it was a good experience. I was mortified. Had a Sancerre with oak treatment. And everybody's like, oh, it's so good. It didn't taste anything like I think a Sancerre should taste like. It was kind of, it had a kind of goopiness, not a goopiness, but just a off, kind of a weird richness that I just wasn't used to. And it's not what I'm looking for when I taste Sancerre. I know you got to be open-minded, which I am, and I drank it and I thought, well, you know, okay, if you wouldn't have told me this was a Sancerre, if you would have just said this is a nice white wine from the Loire Valley, I might have liked it a little bit better. But because I'm just want some of that crisp, dry, excellent wine from Sancerre, it really threw me off. So I'm really curious about this one. Let's see what we get on the nose. A lot of apples. I get like, almost like an apple that's a little old. You know how you cut into an apple that's not like super crisp? It reminds me of that, like a Golden Delicious. In fact, there's so much apple on this, I don't get anything else. I'm just getting the apple. And not just an apple, like I said, an apple that's not quite as fresh as some apples can be. And I'm not sure if that's the oak coming through that gives it that kind of older apple flavor. Can't tell you that. Could be the reason. And I think now I'm getting some of that wet wood notes coming through, which, you know, I really don't particularly like in my Sauvignon Blancs. A little bit closed on the nose. It's not too cold. It's actually, I think, just right. Kind of crazy, but this just reminds me of biting into a green apple. I mean, seriously, that's all I get. I get green apple and a little bit of red delicious. Maybe a backdrop of lemon, but there is nothing else there. It's just apples. If you're in love with apples, this has it all. It is an apple in a glass. Liquefied apples in a glass. That being said, along with that, has very fresh, clean acidity. I like that about it. If you like apples, you're going to like this wine. I think it's a little one-dimensional. I think it lacks some complexity. It's just apples, maybe a little bit of lime, lemon. That's it. And it's very fresh and very clean. I'm going to go B minus C plus on that. I just think it for 20 bucks, it lacks complexity. It lacks complexity. What else can I say? There's just not much going on. Just a lot of apples. That's just crazy. I'm going to stick with it. Thanks for watching. And remember, give Sauvignon Blanc a chance. Don't give up on it. Next time you go for that Pinot Grigio from Italy, or Pinot Gris or a Chardonnay or something that you're very comfortable with, think Sauvignon Blanc, because I'm telling you, they're delicious, they're great to drink solo, they're really good with shellfish and all those sort of things. Good stuff. Thanks for watching. And remember, wine is not a mystery, it's just fermented grape juice. Now there's a lot to know about wine, we all understand that, but you don't have to know all that stuff to enjoy it. Be true to your palate, don't let anybody tell you what you should or should not like. If we do that together, we can take the snob out of wine.